The New York Rangers earned a hard-fought 4-3 win in Game 1 of their series against the Carolina Hurricanes. John Chick of Locked On New York Rangers joins us to break down the game, plus the keys to the series. It's going to be a tight one. All that and more coming up on today's Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On NHL your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. Game off. We got to talk more about Monopoly Go, the fast-paced game that lets you team up with friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go, now free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. It's my pleasure to welcome back to the show the host of Locked On New York Rangers, John Chick. And John, Sunday, an emotional, hard-fought win, but a win nonetheless for the New York Rangers in Game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. One of those games where I think it's kind of setting the stage for what we're going to see throughout this series. Obviously, you got two incredibly talented teams, two teams that I don't really think have a ton of glaring weaknesses. And obviously, right before we hit record there, Gil, when the Canes scored with like a minute 45 left, my first reaction was, of course, nothing can be easy. I can't just enjoy the last few seconds ticking off here. We got to have a little bit of chaos at the end, but I mean, it is what it is, man. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs, and when you've got two teams this good and with this many weapons, something like that can happen, and that's why you're up by 2 goals there and not one, I suppose. They found a way to get it done. Wasn't perfect, but overall, I thought they played well, and hopefully they can just keep it rolling.
Mika Zibanejad coming up big. Actually, the star players came up big in this game for the Rangers. Talk about that and how important is it for them for the rest of the series?
It's huge. I mean, you'll eventually need, some of the complementary players to, chip in and get some goals. But cliche or not, this time of the year is when you need your best players to be your best players. And Mika Zibanejad was fantastic. Obviously, the 2 goals are really going to stick out. But, I mean, he was all over the ice, playing good defensive hockey, winning a couple of key faceoffs late in that game as well when the game is basically hanging in the balance. So, Mika, he went through a tough patch this year. I mean, he went about like 2 months, I think it was, without scoring an even strength goal. And he was hearing it from some of the fans. And I even talked about it too. We do need a little bit more from Mika, but the guy's a heck of a player, just a do-it-all center. He was there when they needed him in this game in every aspect of the game. And then Panarin, of course, he ends up with the game winner. And, he's kind of under a microscope this year because, the playoffs last year were just kind of a disaster for him. But he's obviously answered the bell, played a lot better. And the thing that I love about the Panarin goal, and I tweeted this out while the game was happening. You get the 2-on-1 there. The pass wasn't really there. The defenseman did a good job taking that pass away. I think in the pass, Panarin, because he is so selfless and he wants to set up his buddies for goals, he probably would have tried to force the pass anyway. But he's got such a lethal shot. You want him to use it more, and he has this year, and he did there. And, man, this game might still be going in overtime if that didn't happen because, they would have only been up 3-2, and maybe the Canes tie it late. But just great job by Panarin there, great job by Mika, and Igor was awesome too. So yeah, the stars were definitely out in this game for the Rangers.
Special teams, a big part of this for the Rangers. Two power play goals, perfect on the PK. Both of these teams have excellent special teams. So talk a little bit about the importance of it for the rest of this series.
Yeah, Zach and I talked quite a bit about that in our series preview episode edition. And yeah, I mean, what can you say? 2 elite units. I think both teams were top 3 in both power play and penalty kill in the regular season. And it was nice to see the Rangers kind of get the jump on them. I don't know how many power plays the Canes ended up getting. I mean, it had to be at least like 5 or 6, I think. And the Rangers did a really nice job there, shutting it down. And then, of course, converting on the power play themselves and converting early in both power plays. The first one was, I think, 8 or 9 seconds. Second one was like 14 seconds. And the thing I love about the Ranger power play, I mean, there's a lot to like there, but they look about as creative and unpredictable as they've looked all season. They've had a great power play all season. At times, you get into kind of a little bit of a rut, though, where maybe you're trying to force a one-timer to Mika. Now, I mean, guys are moving all over the ice, and I've been watching them all season. And I'm not sure what they're about to do with the puck, like in a good way, though. They're that unpredictable and that creative right now that you can watch them all season, and it feels like they're showing some new looks and trying some different things. And obviously, worked great against the Caps. They were great on the power play in that series, and solid start here for round 2 against the Canes.
You mentioned Igor Shesterkin. I mean, he struggled early in the season, came on really well later. How important is his play going to be? And what was the big difference between the slow start and the strong finish in his game?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought he started this season well. It was kind of like those middle months. I think December is when he got into his funk, and then January is when it got, pretty bad. The entire team at that time was not playing well in January, so that didn't help either. But, I think overall he just kind of found his confidence. He's trusting his instincts, and he just, you watch him go about his business in these playoff games, and it just seems like his head is in a really good place. He's not getting too high or too low. An example I used not too long ago was game 3 against the Caps. Gave up a soft goal at the start of that game, shut them down the rest of the way. And in this game, like, he'll have better statistical games than this. But anybody that watched this game, I mean, he was doing his thing. And of course, the Ranger penalty kill was awesome. And you know what? A little bit of a cliche, but you need your goalie to be your best penalty killer. And I think he was. And the other thing, too, is he's really buckling down in clutch situations. And that's what the best goalies do. They give you those saves when you really, really need them. Obviously, got late in this game, minute 45 left. It's a 1-goal game, and he made a couple of saves down the stretch there as well. All the confidence in the world in Igor Shesterkin. You never know what can happen. Goalie is such a volatile position, but man, he looks good right now. And it's one of those things where if you're going to beat him, I mean, it's got to be like a second or third chance or like a crazy deflection. We saw the puck take a crazy bounce on the Canes' first goal of this game. It's tough to beat him clean right now, and that's obviously a good thing for the Rangers.
Talk to me about the keys to winning this series, because these are two very evenly matched teams on paper.
Yeah, so I think you can start with special teams. We touched on that a little bit, but when you've got 2 elite units like this, I think it's absolutely huge. And it's funny because, at times, Ranger fans and even just general hockey fans, they'll talk about the Rangers and not the best 5v5 team. I mean, I think that's overstated in the first place. But you know what? Take advantage of who you are. You have 2 elite special teams units. And the way I see it, the way this series unfolds, I have a hard time believing that the team that wins the special teams battle in this series will not then also win the series itself. So special teams are huge. I don't know why people kind of downplay those at times. It's not everybody, but some people do that. I think obviously if the Rangers can get their star players, playing like they did in this game and shut down the Canes' big guys, I think that's going to be huge as well. Physicality battle is always important in the playoffs. I think the Rangers certainly held their own there. One thing I'm really hoping the Rangers can do going forward is stay out of the penalty box a little bit. They've kind of been playing with fire a little bit with that. And granted, there's some ticky-tack calls here and there, but I mean, there were some calls against the Rangers that clearly were penalties in this game as well. And, they did an awesome job killing them off. But again, you keep playing with fire and you keep giving a power play like the Canes more and more chances on the man advantage. Sooner or later, they're going to get one. So you hope it's not in a big spot. And again, you hope that, I'd love to see a game where the Rangers take like just 1 or 2 penalties and, we'll see how that kind of a game shakes out. Because I don't think they've done that yet. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward for sure.
What concerns you the most about facing the Carolina Hurricanes?
I mean, they're just a really good team. There's just no glaring weaknesses whatsoever. And, I know Freddie Anderson didn't play the whole season, but once he got back, he was awesome. And I think one of the only goalies in this league that can really go toe-to-toe with Igor. I mean, I'm Ranger biased, obviously. I'll take Igor against anybody. But Freddie Anderson's been a really good goalie in this league for a really long time. So there's that. I think certainly the Canes have a lot of very impressive depth. You look at their forwards, their defensemen are excellent, all 6 guys that they throw at you. So, yeah, I mean, they're just a really good team. I mean, it's as simple as that, really. But, overall, I like how the Rangers played in this game. It was awesome to see them, win the special teams battle and, deliver in crunch time. They were able to do that.
All right, John, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
Yeah, so wherever you're watching this podcast or listening to it, Locked On Rangers is there as well. YouTube, any audio streaming platform you can possibly think of. And as far as where you can find me on social media, on Twitter, at jchick17. I'm on there. Come say hi, give me a follow, all that good stuff, and go Rangers.
All right, John, thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Gil.